Okay, so you're looking for a good record player, also known as a turntable, but you have no idea where to begin. Well, no worries, because today I'm going to share with you guys my top 10 tips for things that you should look for when buying a record player. Hey friends, welcome to Eyezz. I'm Jarrett New, and today I'm going to share with you guys my top 10 tips for buying a record player, also known as a turntable. Now, these are all my personal opinion, but a lot of seasoned record collectors out there are definitely going to agree with me because these are essentially the basics of what you need to know for buying your first record player. Also, if you guys are looking for some really kick-ass records to play on your new record player, then you should definitely check out our sponsor for this video, Vinyl Moon. They release a brand new colored vinyl record mixtape to your door every month. So every month you get 10 awesome songs, each by a different band, on a gorgeous colored vinyl record. They're really cool, so if you guys want to check them out, their link is in the video description below. Now, if you're in a hurry and all you need to know are which record players are good, then here are my top 5 picks from lowest to highest price point. The Audio-Technica LP60, the Audio-Technica LP120, the U-Turn Orbit, the Stanton T92 USB, and finally the Project Debut Carbon. So if you guys want to research those for yourself, the links are also down below. But if you guys want to stick around and find out why I chose those turntables over the other ones, then you can watch these 10 tips. Alright, so let's get right down to it. Number 10, avoid Crosley. This is by far the most common problem that a lot of people encounter. When shopping for your first record player, you'll notice that there are a ton of Crosley Cruisers and other suitcase-style turntables on the market. And the main problem with these record players is that they usually put too much weight on your vinyl record grooves, which can destroy the music. And on top of that, they sound just terrible. So if you guys want to learn more in detail about why these record players suck, then you can watch this video that I made a while back. But for now, my best advice to you is that you should just avoid them. Number 9, avoid all-in-one style players. Okay, so to be able to play a vinyl record, you're going to need 4 things: turntable, preamp, amplifier, and speakers. Once again, turntable, preamp, amplifier, and speakers. I call this the vinyl audio setup. Now, there are turntables with the preamp built inside, and there's also speakers with the amplifier built inside. We call those active speakers. And all that stuff is fine, but when you try to combine all 4 of these items into one device, it usually doesn't turn out too well. Basically, the all-in-one type players are sacrificing quality for convenience. So if you want better sound, it's best to buy these items separately. Number 8, choose stationary over portable. The best record players are the ones that stay put. Like I just mentioned, a lot of these all-in-one type record players are also advertised as being portable. And at first, it might sound like a good idea that you can take your record player with you on the go, but you're definitely sacrificing sound quality to do that. So if you really want to know how good vinyl records can actually sound, I would recommend that you stay away from these portable turntables and instead choose something that's designed to stay put. Stationary turntables are usually built stronger, heavier, they sound better, and are built to last many years. Number 7, buy new over vintage. Now this one people might disagree with me on, but I do feel that buying a new turntable is overall a better choice because with older record players, you're more likely to run into certain problems, like motor issues, a broken stylus, bad belts, and other kind of similar mechanical issues. But with new turntables, all the parts are, of course, in new condition. And even if there is a problem, you can send it back and have it replaced. So usually these newer record players are going to last you a long time and you're not going to have to worry at all about maintenance. Now, on rare occasion, you might be able to find a nice Technics 1200 Mark II or a dual record player on eBay, but if it's still in good condition after all these years, you're usually going to have to pay quite a lot of money. Number 6, record player speeds. One of the first things you should find out is what kind of records are you going to be playing, and then you'll know which record player speeds that you're going to need. For example, the vast majority of modern 12-inch plastic vinyl record albums, like the ones that you see on the wall behind me, spin at 33 1/3 RPM. So this is by far the most common speed that you're going to find on turntables. But there are also 7-inch vinyl record singles that spin at 45 RPM. So this is the second most common speed that's found on most modern record players. Now usually most record players only have those two speeds, 33 and 45, but there's also a much older type of record called shellac records. And these were made in the early 1900s, and they spin at 78 RPM, and that's why they're also known as 78 records. Now, the vast majority of people really don't care about playing 78 RPM records because they're so old, and these are becoming harder and harder to find. But if you really love older music, like early blues, jazz, gospel, and ragtime types of music, then you might really love these 78 RPM records. So basically, you have to know what types of records you're going to be playing, so that way you can pick a turntable that matches that speed. Number 5, does it have a preamp? Now, like we just mentioned a minute ago, the vinyl audio setup has 4 main parts: turntable, preamp, amplifier, and speakers. So a lot of modern turntables are now starting to include the preamp inside the record player itself, so that might make things a little more convenient for you because that's one less item that you have to go out and buy. Now, on the other hand, some people actually prefer to have a separate preamp because depending on the model, it can actually make your setup sound even better. So really, this is a matter of opinion, but in my experience, I like the built-in preamp on my LP120 because it delivers a nice quality of sound to my ears. Number 4, is it upgradable? Another really important question to ask is, can you upgrade the main parts of this particular record player? For example, can you replace the cartridge or the needle? Can you replace the turntable mat? Can you switch out the counterweight? Can you use accessories like a record weight or a clamp? These are all good questions to ask. Number 3, does it have a counterweight? This is usually a big indicator of whether or not this turntable that you're looking at is of a good quality or not. All high quality turntables are going to have some kind of a counterweight. So if the record player that you're currently looking at doesn't have one of those, then it might be putting too much weight on your records, which can damage the music. So that's not fun. Go with one that has a counterweight. Number 2, is it direct drive or belt drive? There are 2 different types of turntable motors. One is direct drive, meaning that the motor is situated directly below the spinning record, and the other one is belt drive, meaning that the motor is off to one side and it spins the record platter with a simple rubber belt that it's connected with. Now, there are pros and cons to each method. So for example, the direct drive motor speeds are more accurate, but it could be a little noisy. Now, the belt drive motor is very quiet, but its speeds aren't as accurate. And most of them don't spin at 78 RPM, meaning that you couldn't play those older records that I just talked about. So basically, this is a matter of personal preference, but in my experience, I prefer direct drive. And finally, number 1, pricing. So last of all, let's talk about pricing. A quality turntable is usually going to be in the $200 to $400 range. For that price, you're going to get something that sounds great and is also going to last you several years. And then on top of that, the higher end turntables usually have a lot more options. So for example, you'll be able to upgrade the cartridge, the stylus, the record mat, and it'll usually work with more accessories like high-end preamps, amplifiers, speakers, subwoofers, graphic equalizers, and lots of other cool stuff. So basically, you have a ton of options for customizing your vinyl audio setup. Now, do you guys agree with this list? Let us all know down in the comments below, and if you like this video, join the vinyl army and hit subscribe because I'm going to be coming out with a lot of great videos every week that you're not going to want to miss. Be sure to find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. All that social media goodness is down below. And most importantly, guys, have a great day and keep spinning that vinyl.